Bodha, am I doing puja the right way? There are so many do's and don'ts. Sometimes I'm worried if I'm doing something wrong or missing something.
Tattva, what truly matters is the heart behind the prayer. If your devotion is pure and your intention sincere, the Lord will accept it. A few unintentional misses in rituals don't anger Him. He sees the bhava, not the method.
Wow, really? That's good to hear, Bodha. Tell me more about it.
Let me tell you the story of a devotee so pure, so innocent that even Lord Shiva himself appeared before him. He is one of the 63 Nayanars, Bhakta Kannappa.
What timeline did he exist? Do we have any written records about him?
Kannappa lived around 3105 BC, just 20 years after Sri Krishna's Niryanam and the beginning of Kali Yuga. At that time, Parikshit Maharaj, Arjuna's grandson, ruled over Bharatavarsha. Our primary written sources about Kannappa are the Sri Kalahastishwara Shatakam by poet Durjati and the Periya Puranam.
He must be born to a great sage, right?
No, he was born into a tribal family. His parents were Nadhanatha, king of Chenchu tribe, and his saintly wife. They were great devotees of Lord Subramanya and prayed for years for a child. Their prayers were answered, and their son Thinnadu was born in a village called Utukuru in today's Kadapa district.
Chinchu tribe?
Yes, the glorious tribe in which Sri Mahalakshmi herself was born. The tribal village was protected by a fence made of real elephant tusks, which shows how skilled the people were at hunting. They would hang the skins of tigers and lions on the trees there to dry. The roaring waterfalls which flowed through the village borders added to the natural music of the area. Everyone there had a strong body, shining with black skin complexion. They used to eat raw meat mixed with honey. Their hearts were not as sweet as honey, but were hard. Their faces were cruel and frightening to those who looked at him. The king of the tribe, Nadhanatha, according to their cultural tradition, sent his son to gurus to learn archery and all the necessary knowledge. Naturally, the boy was very active in everything from a young age, and he learned all the subjects taught by his teachers with ease, astonishing everyone there. In his childhood, Thinnadu used to put his hand in a tiger's mouth and laugh in amusement. With his innate intelligence, he would learn any subject with ease, no matter how difficult it was. He grew up to be a skilled archer and a hunter. When his father grew old, the tribal elders crowned Thinnadu as their new leader. He was compassionate even as a hunter, never harming young, sick or pregnant animals. He used to hunt small rabbits, deer and moose and bring them back. He would keep them in his house and pet them with love and care.
Was Thinnadu just a tribal man or was there more to him?
Actually, much more. According to old literature, Thinnadu was none other than Arjuna in his previous birth.
What? But why did Arjuna have to be born again?
In Dwapar Yuga, when Arjuna was in deep penance on Indrakilatri, Lord Shiva appeared before Arjuna in the form of a tribal hunter to test him. But Arjuna, unable to recognize Lord Shiva, fought with him. Though he later received the Pashupata Astra as a boon, he felt disheartened at the fact that he couldn't recognize Lord Shiva. This led to his rebirth as a tribal man, Thinnadu, so he could truly serve the Lord with unconditional love.
Oh, I remember now. Isn't it Kalahastishwara Shatakam?
Well, Durjati's Telugu Kalahastishwara Shatakam glorifies Lord Shiva of Kalahasti and includes emotional devotion, including references to Kannappa Nayanar. However, nowhere in the original 100 verses is there a direct reference to Arjuna or Kannappa being Arjuna's rebirth. That Sanskrit verse you mentioned, which implies Arjuna's rebirth, is often wrongly attributed to Durjati or said to be a Sanskrit version of his Shatakam. It was maybe to try to elevate Kannappa's devotion by associating him with a great warrior devotee or Vaishnava Shaiva reconciliation.
What happened after he became a chief?
From the day Thinnadu became the tribe's chief, he earned everyone's respect. A masterful archer, his aim never failed. If he released an arrow, the prey was as good as caught. But hunting wasn't easy. It required a skilled team to track animal footprints and stay alert, or the hunter would become the hunted. Thinnadu would study the trails, lie in wait and strike with precision.
Was he a devotee always or something changed him?
Interestingly, Thinnadu was an atheist. but never mocked any god or devotee. One day, following the signs with his assistants and friends Kama and Nama, he set out on another hunt just like always. They all came near a mountainous region. His arrows flew with precision, bringing down many wild animals. But one fierce wild boar escaped both traps and arrows, enraging Tinadu. He, along with Kama and Nama, chased it tirelessly through the forest. After a long run, the exhausted boar halted near a tree. Tinadu seized the movement, shot it down, and all three collapsed, breathless and parched. Thirsty, they recalled that the Suvarnamukhi river was nearby.
What happened next?
They headed towards the Suvarnamukhi river. Upon reaching there, they saw the nearby Srikalahasti hill and the temple of Lord Srikalahasti perched on it. The moment Tinadu laid eyes on it, an unexplainable peace washed over him. While Kamadu began cooking the boar, Tinadu, unable to resist the pull, climbed the hill. With each step, he felt lighter, as if his past karmas were shedding away. Reaching the top, he saw the Shivalingam, and overwhelmed with devotion, he ran forward and embraced it, tears of joy streaming down his eyes. Until then, he had no idea what this was all about. In that moment, his longing to be united with the god began. He said, Parameshwara, how have you been alone in this dense forest for so many years without anyone's help? Who is feeding you? We bring a lot of helpers even when we go hunting. How come you are lying here like a lost person in this mountainous forest with no one around? Not anymore. From now on, I'll stay with you. He went down the hill to bring food for Shiva. There was a hot pot of pork cooked by Kamadu. He tasted it before taking a little portion for Shiva and kept it aside. Then Namadu said, Tinna, the Lord is anointed with water every day before eating anything and receives offerings with flowers. Hearing this, Tinadu immediately went to the river, held a mouthful of water in his mouth, put the wild flowers he had collected on his head, and held the cooked pork in one hand and bow and arrows in the other. He went to the place where Shivalingam was located. There, he spat on the water that he had collected, and that was the anointing of Shiva. Lord accepted the water with joy. He adorned Shiva with the flowers he kept on the head. That was the puja. Then he offered the pork he had brought as an offering to the god. That was the Naivedyam. Tinadu stood guard so that no other man or animal could come there.
What? He offered pork to Shiva? He spat water on Shivalingam? And Lord accepted it?
Yes, his raw yet sincere devotion melted Shiva's heart. After all, Srikalahasti is famed for accepting devotion in its truest form.
It's known for? Did something like this happen before?
Yes, the name Srikalahasti comes from three creatures who worshipped Shiva. Sri means spider, Kala means snake, and Hasti means elephant. All three offered puja in their own way and attained liberation.
It all sounds good, but did no one oppose Tinadu's ways?
Oh, someone sure did. Mahadeva Shastri, the temple priest, who used to come every Monday to do seva to Vayulingam. He was a master in Agama Shastras and Vedas. He was horrified when he saw the rotten meat and wildflowers scattered around. Saddened, he cleaned the shrine and performed the rituals again. This happened every Monday. The priest, overwhelmed by the sight, cried out in deep agony. His voice trembled, echoing through the silent temple. He collapsed in anguish, unable to make sense of the divine contradiction.
Did Lord Shiva console him, or did he defend Tinadu? Didn't the priest ever realize what was truly happening?
Yes, to reveal the truth, Lord Shiva appeared in Mahadeva Shastri's dream and asked him to hide behind the Shivalingam the next day.
What did he see?
He saw Tinadu doing his usual puja, but that evening, Tinadu had noticed bad omens while he was on his way to the temple. Feeling something was wrong, after his puja, he decided to guard the lingam even at night.
Bad omens? Guard the lingam? What could happen to Devadidev Mahadev?
His Devadidev sure, but to Tinadu, he was like his child, someone he needed to care for and protect. And like he was afraid, just then, blood began flowing from Shivalingam's right eye.
Blood came from Lingam's eye? Was it a miracle?
Yes. Tinnadu was heartbroken, thinking he had somehow caused this pain. He tried herbal medicine he knew to heal it. However, the blood flowing did not stop. That's when he did something no one can ever think of.
What did he do?
At that moment, an idea immediately occurred to him. He remembered the proverb, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Without thinking anything else, he immediately pierced his right eye with an arrow and placed it on Shiva's right eye.
He gave his eye? Like literally?
Yes, and the bleeding stopped. Overjoyed, he danced in devotion. But soon, blood started flowing from the left eye of the lingam.
And then?
He decided to offer his second eye as well.
But how would he know where to place it after he plugged both his eyes?
The same thought struck him as well. How will I know where to place it once I go blind? To mark the spot, Tinnadu placed his foot on Lingam's left eye and said, Hey Parameshwara, I have 2 eyes while you have 3. For your third eye, take my Mano Netram. He was about to pierce the second eye when,
Oh my God, did Shiva appear before him?
Yes, Tattva, Lord Shiva held his hand and stopped him. He said, Wait, I've never seen devotion like yours. All your innocent and faithful acts have touched my heart. He embraced Tinnadu and called him Kannappa, 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 the one who offered his eyes. That Kannappa became famous as Kannappa Nayanar. He is also called Netrish Nayanar in Sanskrit.
What about Mahadeva Shastri?
The priest watching from behind was deeply moved. He realized the depth of Kannappa's devotion.
Bodha, I think I saw Mahadeva Shastri getting Kannappa beaten and being jealous of him in some movie.
It is indeed shameful. In the name of storytelling, some films show Mahadeva Shastri as egoistic or immoral, even as a thief. He is shown to be a womanizer in some versions, someone who stole Devi's jewelry to give to a prostitute, jealous of Kannappa, or someone who is arrogant and thinks only he has the right to serve Vayulingam, when in actual he was a pure-hearted devotee who served Shiva by Agama Shastras. It's not right to assassinate a character just to attract attention.
Agreed, he was learned, but didn't he criticize Kannappa's methods?
Tell me something, Tattva. Wouldn't you be upset if someone came into your puja room and threw smeared leftover food all near your mandir? If flowers were trampled, if raw meat was tossed around your deity? Wouldn't your heart break seeing the sanctity of your prayer space violated?
I cannot even imagine it.
And yet, when Mahadeva Shastri felt the same anguish at the temple, why do some stories twist him as a villain?
Understood. So both the priest and Kannappa reached Lord Shiva in the end?
Yes. When Shiva asked both of them what they wanted, the two requested Shiva Sanithyam. Lord Shiva granted both of them moksha on the spot. One followed the Shastras with pure devotion, the other worshipped with raw innocence. Both reached him.
Thanks for telling me this story, Bodha. Now I feel much better and will never worry or fear during puja. I'll rather concentrate on the Lord.
That's all that matters, Tattva. Lord doesn't need perfection. He just needs a pure devoted heart and efforts. Tell me in the comments below what kind of devotion you think reaches the God. To listen to more stories like these, like, share and subscribe to Bodha Hoots.